Lost in an unknown world, surrounded by mystery and danger at every corner, as well as the constant threat that you cannot escape no matter what. This is Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is an amazing experience. I call it that because I believe Outer Wilds goes beyond a game and becomes an experience. Something you can only really why did I write experience twice? Something you can only really go through once at its full potential. I talked to Nomori about how that game is at its best when you know nothing about the story. If you do know the story, you can still enjoy the game and the gameplay and the world, whereas knowing anything about Outer Wilds actually ruins the game. In Outer Wilds, information is your greatest weapon, so knowing anything can ruin the experience. I wrote experience 3 times in 3 sentences. This script is terrible. This video is going to be a bit loose. I don't really have it divided into sections. I've kind of just regurgitated everything I liked about Outer Wilds onto a sheet. I'm going to keep this spoiler free as much as I can because I think everyone should play Outer Wilds. The game itself is only around 20 hours long, not including the DLC, so there's really no reason not to play it. I say like 20 years isn't a lot, which it is a lot, but my brain is so broken from JRPGs that anything under 50 hours is a short game to me now. I'm broken. Probably the most interesting part of Outer Wilds is the progression system in the game. I mentioned how information is your greatest weapon. At the start of the game, you're given a ship and then free reign of the entire galaxy. The universe is at your fingertips. With 5 planets in total, it's kind of overwhelming to decide where to start. Also the fact that flying the ship is near impossible to begin with. I crashed into the sun so many times to begin with. It was incredibly frustrating. I honestly almost quit the game because of how many times I flew into the sun. I don't know how, I just kept getting stuck in the gravitational pull. Anyway, this is beside the point. I mean, you can finish the game right now at the start of the game and get the true ending. But how do you know how to get to the end of the game? That's why you gotta start exploring. I love this idea. The whole game is fully open from the beginning. The only thing that prevents you from advancing is your own knowledge. So as you explore, you discover different writings from the Zonai. Sorry, I mean the Nomai. I've been playing a lot of Tears of the Kingdom and they're basically the same people, just spelt different. They existed before you and somehow went extinct at some point. How? Why would I tell you that? Go work it out yourself, pal, buddy, champ. I'm not going to tell you. Go figure it out. This is the strongest part of the game. You progress by learning things about the world, allowing you to get further into the game. Information is your greatest weapon, and the other way, I wrote this. Only problem is you do have to do a lot of reading, and you know, I do kind of hate reading. Reading's kind of dumb. I mean, even if you want to cheat and Google the way to go, you're still using information learned to progress the game. It's kind of a genius technique. So even if you do cheat, you know, you're still learning how to do it. The game itself looks incredible. From the moment you wake up, it looks great. First, exploring a planet very similar to our own. Our own is in Earth. I mean, it's called Earth. So I think you get it. I'm not going to explain that to you. However, this feeling of familiarity, this feeling of I can't say that, familiarity? This feeling of familiarity is lost as soon as you enter space for the first time. I was in shock and awe, and also very afraid. It was a really fun time, and I loved it. Seeing the planets in real time orbiting the sun, just seeing different things and noticing small stuff like the sun station orbiting the sun. And of course I went straight to Dark Bramble because that's the best part of the game, but anyway, that's beside the point. The first time entering space is amazing, and as a wise man once said, space is so cool. The game itself looks really good. Each planet is completely different and no two are the exact same. The planets are so creative. They take heavy inspiration from our own planets, but they add so many things to make them more creative and unique. Like on Giant's Deep, there are tornadoes that throw the islands that you explore into space. Have you ever been on an island and then all of a sudden you're in space? No, it's crazy. Why wouldn't you have? I can't believe you haven't done that. I've done that. It's good fun. I do think it's such a clever idea though, that to have islands get thrown into space, and if you're not careful, you can, fall off and then be lost in the vast depths of space. The game itself is kind of terrifying at the start, as I had no idea what to expect. Basically everywhere I went I died, and I loved that. But as I died more and more, I started to learn and understand how the planets work. I knew where I could go and where I had to be more careful. Without spoiling anything, there's a section where you teleport to the roof of an area, and my ass was incredibly dumb. Every time I would leave the teleporter, I would try and jump it to move faster. Then I would immediately fall and get stuck. I did this about 5 times over. It was incredibly frustrating because every time I fell, I couldn't get back because my ship was on another planet because I teleported to this planet. So I would have to die. And when you're trying to die, it takes a lot longer than when you just die. It's really annoying. I had many experiences like that, and it would always end with my death. You die a lot in this game. The game is kind of just about dying, and each time you get further and further. I love how unknown everything is at the start, but as you play, it all starts to make sense. And the feeling you get when you finally work it all out and everything comes together, it's ecstatic. I love it. Basically, I loved Outer Wilds, and I think everyone should play it because it's great. And now I get to experience the DLC. I cannot wait. I will admit that I wrote this script before playing the DLC because I originally intended on recording this in 2 sections, before and after playing the DLC. I have played the DLC, so I don't sound super excited to go play it because I already know what it's like. It's pretty good, so, Okay, I'm back. I wrote that I just finished playing the DLC. I finished it a while ago. Echoes of the Eye. It is really good. For the most part, it's exactly what you've come to expect from Outer Wilds. However, they added new mechanics that keep the game feeling fresh and fun. The DLC is basically everything I wanted. It ramps up the fear, which I think is the best part of the main game, but the only issue I have is the difficulty spike towards the end of the DLC. It's not a super big deal. You get a lot of chances. You don't die and have to redo a bunch of stuff. You can just kind of redo it from a little bit ago. However, it's still a pain trying to do the same thing again and again. But a small price to pay for the fear it adds to the game, which I really do like. If it was boring, like playing as Mary Jane in Spider-Man PS4, then I would probably be miserable. I may be complaining about it, but in the end, the stealth sections are definitely my favorite part of the DLC. They're so different from anything in the main game that it ends up being really fun to play. What I love about the DLC is how it connects to the main game. In reality, I actually probably could have played the DLC at the same time as I played the main game. I'd say the best way to play Outer Wilds is buy the DLC with the main game, but then play through the main game until you finish the Quantum Moon, then go and complete the Stranger, which is the DLC. This should give you the best result, as the ending of the DLC is determined by how much you've discovered in the main game, if that makes sense. I kind of fucked up because I accidentally deleted my save file, so when I completed the DLC, there was a lot less that could have happened than what happened. So I was a bit upset by that. But this is just in my opinion. Play the game however you want. I really don't care. But go play it right now. Do it. Overall, I love the DLC. It adds more context to the main game, as well as providing more places to explore and learn about. And the frightening sections are actually the best. Overall, the DLC is just more Outer Wilds. So if you like the main game, you're gonna like the DLC. It's just more of the same. I love it. What I haven't spoken about is the score. The soundtrack is definitely up there as one of my favorite video game soundtracks ever, and Echoes of the Eye introduces a whole album of new songs that fit the vibe of the game so well. Something I love about Outer Wilds is most of the score uses the same melody played by different instruments like the banjo or the harmonica, but these melodies are also used as an in-game mechanic, helping you find other travelers throughout space who can help you learn lore and progress the story. But hearing this melody so often also makes the moment the song Travelers plays at the end so much more powerful. You finally hear these instruments come together and work in harmony. It's really my favorite scene in the whole game. Every song in the game is perfectly added to enhance every part of it, including the first time you enter space, which is accompanied by an incredible tune. I love the playlist and I listen to it non-stop, especially lately. The spooky songs are too good. What's it called? The Elegy of the Rings, I cannot pronounce that, is really good. It's only played briefly in the DLC, but I really like that song. Outer Wilds is definitely the best modern gaming experience I've had in a long time. It does such a good job at creating a game that can only ever be fully experienced once. Nothing beats the feeling when you first enter your spaceship and enter space, seeing the whole galaxy to explore to your heart's content. Collecting pieces to a puzzle that you can't even fathom how they would connect until they suddenly do and everything just makes sense. It's such a good feeling. Outer Wilds is the first game in a long time that I generally did not know what to expect when playing the game, and that's my favorite. I love not knowing because, you know, the fear of the unknown is terrifying. Just like my fear of death, I am so scared of my own mortality. Exploring the unknown in the game is shockingly terrifying, but really fun at the same time. I loved Outer Wilds and can't wait to see what the studio does next. Yeah, I think everyone should go play it, and thank you for watching this. Basically me rambling about how much I loved Outer Wilds. If you liked it, please consider subscribing. I'm going to try to do more videos like this where I just talk about fun things that I really, really enjoy. Yeah, okay, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.